Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
And this won't be the first time you hear this tonight, and it won't be the last. Nothing makes sense anymore, and it just doesn't. My goodness, what are we doing to our planet? What are we doing to our lives? It's crazy. EV charging companies are adding dynamic pricing for chance of profitability. Let me just tell you, through this whole thing, all this infrastructure mumbo jumbo, I just still don't know how much it costs to charge a car. I mean, you can ask all you want. Apparently, it has to do with the location of the charger, and it's very variable for that. It's also very variable for the type of charger it is. And this just doesn't, it never makes any sense. But check this out. Combined net losses for three of the biggest charging companies, ChargePoint, that's a big company, makes chargers, EVgo and Blink, exceeded $600 million last year. So they lost money. Poor baby. A strategy shift is critical for changing their company's viability. But prices that surge with demand could hurt EV owners or EV drivers' experience when public charging is already a significant pain in the derriere. ChargePoint, EVgo, and Electrify America already have implemented some form of dynamic pricing. It makes business sense, said Brett Castelli. Well, what is it? An energy and utilities analyst for Morningstar Research Services. Unlike gasoline prices, largely consistent on an hourly basis, electric prices can vary widely depending on the time of day. Not only the area, but the time of day. Charging providers are often at the mercy of utility companies to provide the energy. Dynamic pricing allows them to adjust accordingly. So the chargers, that's all done remotely, I'm sure. And if it's, okay, electricity just went up, bump the prices at 3 in the afternoon on your way home. You're in the middle of a charge. Would that be cool, Chuck, in the middle of a charge? Whoops, my price just went up 2 cents a whatever.
Surge pricing.
EVgo factors time of use into its pricing model. At the stations it owns and operates, drivers pay lower prices at off-peak hours and higher prices at peak hours. Now, spokesperson Terry Preston said, who cares? Electrify America has implemented station-specific pricing, which considers costs at each location. Spokesperson Tara Geiger said, ChargePoint, whose stations are owned and operated by site hosts, supports dynamic pricing. CEO Rick Wilmer told Automotive News. These people, this is a racket. This is a racket. This is a con game. You talk about the shell game on the side of the road? Here it is. Oh my God, where they take all your money? Here's some more deals. Major charging infrastructure initiatives, such as the Biden administration's goal for 500,000 EV chargers nationwide by 2030, and the Lona automaker-led charging network, are squarely focused on faster charging with direct current systems, DC. DC fast chargers can power up a vehicle in less than 20 minutes, depending on the system and the vehicle architecture. I wouldn't want to charge a lithium battery that fast in anywhere. This is how you get fires. I'm dead serious. Fast chargers are designed to be used more like gas stations. Drivers stop at a fast charger when power is low for a full or nearly full recharge. Fast chargers are more suitable for longer road trips and are often installed along highways. Of course, we all found out a few weeks ago that all works as long as it's not cold outside. My concern is, this guy Gruber, I feel bad for the guy. My concern is that we're focusing so much on the DC fast charging investment that we're dropping the ball on level 2, which is still heavily utilized, yuck, and that's why we are seeing the big drop in satisfaction. That was easy for me to say. 18% of public charging stations attempts failed in the fourth quarter last year. That's a 3-point improvement from the previous 9 months, according to J.D. Power's latest customer satisfaction surveys. Charging station outages and malfunctions remain the biggest pain points, compromising 71% of failed visits in the quarter. The lack of availability is really alarming as EV adoption outpaces charging installation growth, said Brent Gruber, executive director, that's my buddy Brent Gruber, of J.D. Power's EV practice. So, Chuck, they're going to price it any way they want. They're going to price it, but half the chargers don't work. What do they say? 18% of public charging. So, let's say 20%. You go to a place that's got 100 chargers, 5 of them don't work. That's 20%. All right?
Right. If there's 100 chargers,
yeah,
20 chargers.
20 chargers.
So you have 20 chargers, but again, I would say this is growing pains.
You think it's growing pains?
I would say it would be.
Well, we're not having any trouble building cars. We got lots of electric cars.
We did. We didn't have chips for a while.
Come on. We got electric car.
We have problems with glue and airbags and all kinds of stuff.
Where windows fly off going down the road.
Right. Other than that, we're good at building cars, yeah.
I'm telling you. They just have, for some reason, they just have this thing where they gotta hurry up and build these cars, and now let's see if we can get them charged. And you're going to have to buy one. You will buy one. By 2035 in California, you won't be able to buy anything else, according to the head fruit and nut out there. What's his name? Seth Cutler, former president and COO of EV Connect, a charging services management company, will lead that Lona company. The network, unveiled in July, is a joint venture between BMW, General Motors, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, and Stellantis. Lona aims to become an accessible and reliable fast charging network that enables long-distance travel across the United States, or across North America, the company said. It plans to install about 30,000 chargers beginning in the U.S. this year. Canadian installations will follow later. They're going to put 30,000 chargers in? That won't take care of Lansing. We got a post office out here. You got to be kidding me. We're going to put in 30,000. Yeah, but who cares? Drivers are number one. Lona is examining every detail of the public charging experience. Olabisi Boyle, Senior Vice President of Product Planning and Mobility Strategy, oh boy, that sounds very important, for Hyundai Motor North America, said in a January interview. Olabisi Boyle. That's like Olabisi Smith. The company is evaluating the number of charging stalls per site, capital spend, charger locations, payment mechanisms, hardware, software, safety, and more, she said. Each participating automaker considers a simple customer experience the priority. Well, yeah, right. They don't care as long as they get their money. The automaker's combined experience will maximize charging for the mass market, she said. The transition to EVs requires a long-term investment, strategic planning, and partnership, she said. And she's going to be important, huh? Lona aims to become the accessible and reliable fast charging network that enables long-distance travel across North America. This is, again, the company said. It plans to install at least 30,000 chargers. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. 30,000 is nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. That's a spit in the ocean. That's not... Here we are again. Here I am getting frustrated, Charles. And I still don't know how much it would cost to charge my Tesla.
It depends. You just read the article. It depends.
Depends as a diaper.
Depends.
And they're usually full of you-know-what. You said you didn't have to recharge your Tesla,
I did not have to. I paid just like you'd pay if you rent a normal car and you prepay for the gas kind of thing. So I prepaid for them to charge it when I got back.
Okay.
So
you never did have to stop and recharge.
Right. My understanding is that it was competitive with gas. But,
really?
So the difference.
You think that's possible?
Well, I believe it would be, but I mean, knowing that when you rent a car, they normally charge you a little extra for gas, and the fact that this was on par with a tank of gas, I would say it's similar. But again, that's why they're all selling 20,000 of their cars because it wasn't profitable.
Well, here's the deal: if it's the same amount to drive an electric car as a gas car, and we're destroying our planet to build these electric cars, so it's not any greener. Why are we doing electric cars? What happened there? Why isn't Tesla the only car company that has electric vehicles out there and using them as a shining example of, here, you want an electric car, go get a Tesla. I don't get why they all got to compete now. And now that they're all competing, now they all got to be charged.
Right. And they have to come up with a standard and all sorts of things.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, I don't know. I don't believe it to be the same. I don't believe it can't be. If it's the same as gasoline, then why are we even building them? Let's get beyond that before I have an attack of some kind. I want to tell you, Chuck, if you buy an electric vehicle, you're going to buy new or used? Of course, a man in your means and your money probably wants new.
My means.
Are you sure you wouldn't buy new? $100,000 Tesla? Why not?
Well, I guess that becomes the question of your story is, how do I know how much battery life is left?
Well, yeah, this is where we're going with this. Volatility and uncertainty are the only constants in the used electric vehicle market. Used EVs, once an option only for a small group of car buyers, became feasible for more consumers last year when the prices dipped. They plunged. Used electric vehicle prices will continue to fluctuate, analysts say, and it's up to the automakers to launch affordable electric vehicles before they trickle to the used vehicle market. This is where they're trying to, the new vehicles are trying to build one that's like under $50,000 or under $40,000, and so that they can sell them used for less money and people will buy them. I know people that will never buy a new car. They only will buy a used car. They want a 3 or 4 year old car. You're paying almost as much as you do for the...
Well, I was going to say, that was always my grandfather's conventional wisdom, was buy a 2 or 3 year old used car, because it used to be half the price.
Yeah.
Now it's like it's a couple thousand over sticker now. So
yeah. Now you're basically paying just as much or a little bit less. Electric vehicles will still make up only a sliver of used vehicle retail share, and I believe that. Franchise. That's the first thing I read today. That was I believe. Franchise dealerships sold a mere 180,000 used electric vehicles in 2023, making up less than 1% of the used vehicle retail market, according to Cox Automotive, the big dealerships. Used electric vehicles have historically been more expensive than their internal combustion engine counterparts across the vehicle segments. Now, Chuck, I want to ask something. How can they historically be, used electric vehicles have historically been more expensive than their internal combustion engine counterparts? We just started selling them.
Well, I was going to say is you have a supply.
Historically, what is it, 2 years?
Well, 5 or so at this point. But I mean, so you do have the idea of the supply and demand, that there's less supply of electric cars, ergo the demand is higher.
The demand is higher, yes.
So again, the idea that, okay, so when are people going to start buying used Teslas? 2 or 3 years after the Tesla's out, right? So I mean, that's sort of the idea. Is the Model X, the Model Y is 3 years old, 5 years old.
Puts a brand new battery in it.
But I'm saying is that's when the demand is going to start. That if you're sitting here saying the wisdom is buy a 2 or 3 year old used car, that's when that demand is going to start.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, that's sort of the thing is that, I think the idea is I don't want to buy a 10-year-old used electric car. I pretty much know I need a new battery at that point.
Absolutely.
So the demand is going to be right at that 2 and 3 year time frame, or the end of a lease or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I see this as, well, here. Used electric vehicles are more expensive than internal combustion, blah, blah, blah. The average cost of a premium used electric car in 2023, used now, was $43,706, compared with $40,465 for a premium used midsize gasoline-powered vehicle, according to J.D. Power.
Okay, so we're 10% higher roughly.
Yeah, as automakers adjust new electric vehicle prices, the government incentives become available. Government incentives become available for used cars now. We expect the EV prices to continue to decline at a higher rate than the overall market, he said, and they will go down. They're going to be, especially if you get tax credits and stuff.
Well, and so that's the point, though, is traditionally you got tax credits on a new car, but this brings up an interesting idea that, of course, our Congress isn't going to think of, is having a battery credit, where basically, you get a 5-year credit every year, and then if I go and buy a used car, I know I'm going to need a $10,000 battery at some point. I should get a battery credit for buying a used car. Would be my
absolutely from the government. Let the government. I'm tired of the American people having to pay.
I just want to break on my taxes. I don't need to.
I'd settle for breaking my taxes. Yeah. Absolutely.